Greetings, my name is Chamomile and this is an exploration of the entire galaxy sector by sector. Today we're looking at Bormea Sector and the 3rd Steel Blade Command of the Arrowhead in the core. Bormea Sector is home to not one, not two, but 3 different planets colonized by Coruscanti sleeper ships in the pre-Republic era. Although in the case of Chandrilla, they hopped off the boat and like a week later the Mother World showed up with a hyperdrive to let them know they may as well have just stayed home and waited for faster-than-light travel to be discovered. Chandrilla was one of the founding members of the Republic and, because it was so recently settled at the time, they call themselves the first agri-world of the Republic. Chandrilla is now famously the homeworld of Mon Mothma, first Supreme Chancellor of the New Republic and first capital planet of the New Republic, although it rotates through several different worlds including Coruscant and, well, not Hosnian anymore on account of, Anyway, Chandrilla has had surprisingly little impact on galactic history besides being Mon Mothma's homeworld and a founding member of the Republic. They were taken over by the Sith in the closing years of the New Sith Wars when the Republic had basically disintegrated, although Chandrilla was never part of that disintegration. While most Republic sectors were effectively independent nations loosely allied with one another against the Sith, the Arrowhead region still sent senators to Coruscant and was still bound by the laws of the Senate. Well, except for Chandrilla on account of having been conquered by the Sith for a few years. The Sith got shoved back off the planet pretty quick, though. There's got to be some kind of history for why this planet wound up as capital of the Bormea sector over the equally prominent Brentaal and Korolog, but there's no record of exactly why. Brentaal and Korolog have independent Senate representation and are thus technically single-system sectors unto themselves, but Chandrilla, the smallest of the 3 in population by far, is for some reason the capital planet with dominion over the hundreds of minor one-town worlds scattered throughout the Bormea sector. Maybe Chandrilla gets to be sector capital to try and level it out with the other 2? If so, it's not nearly enough. A few hundred planets with less than 1 million inhabitants on average is not even doubling Chandrilla's population of roughly 1 billion, while Korolog is pushing the limits of self-sustainability at around 10 to 15 billion, and if we're being honest, if it were blockaded, it probably wouldn't be able to sustain itself on local agriculture, while Brentaal is way past sustainability with over 60 billion inhabitants, in that gray zone where it's fed by agri-world like an ecumenopolis, but still has less than half of its land area covered in city. Not a lot less than half, though. It's nearly an ecumenopolis. Brentaal is a trade powerhouse at the intersection of the Prelemian trade route and the Hydean Way, along with many other smaller hyperroutes like the Brentaal-Denon route and the Commodore run. Brentaal is a democracy, but it's also got a culture where politics is seen as second to commerce, so its hundreds of hereditary merchant aristocratic houses are viewed as more important than senate positions or mayoral offices of various cities. Not to say that they don't notice the importance of political office, just that the patriarch or matriarch of a merchant house is generally seen as a more prestigious role than a mayor, and the head of one of the great houses is viewed as more prestigious than the planet's senator, although the definition of a great house is somewhat fluid. It's basically like saying the S-tier houses, where there's some that are big and wealthy enough to definitely be included, while the vast majority of Brentaal's hundreds of merchant houses are definitely not included. But there's also a few that are kind of borderline, and it depends on who you ask because there is no formal definition. Brentaal revolted against the Galactic Empire and joined the Rebel Alliance in the final months of the Galactic Civil War before the New Republic was officially proclaimed on Coruscant, and the Empire and Rebellion fought over the planet between Endor and Jakku, with the Rebels carving out a stronghold there before the Battle of Jakku. Korolog has a ton of corporations on it. None of them are like the big names. This isn't Sinar or Quat Drive Yards or Industrial Automata, but there's still like 7 major corps headquartered here. Aether Hypernautics, Core Guard Security Services, Danthe Artifice Limited, Gowix Computers, Gwaine Spices, Corden Outfitting and Surveying, and the Mansom Corporation. Korolog was pretty pro-imperial during the Galactic Civil War, but the New Republic wasn't interested in letting any part of Bormea Sector join the Inner Systems Imperial Remnant, not when that might put Chandrilla so plainly within striking distance of a vengeful empire. Turned out to be just as well, since the Inner Systems Remnant collapsed almost immediately, and all its members joined the New Republic anyway.